When you come to my store, I want you to look good. Because when you look good, you feel good. When I see someone wearing my jeans, that makes me prouder than nothing else. And so I pick out all the fabrics and design the aesthetics and keep up with the trends. And if you've seen my jeans, there's this red tag mark. And that's the final step that we take on our jeans that lets you know that it's been quality inspected and it's a good pair of blue jeans. But I'll tell you this story. No one thought that the Mark Nelson Denim at the time was making that much cash. My employees had no clue that I was living two lives. I started in the number business. The numbers business is basically the lottery. So that means that if you put $1 on a 3-digit number, you get paid, if it hits straight, $600.
Second lucky number, 7.
And in the Black community, it's like
8.
going to the grocery store. It's a common thing. People play numbers before they go to church on Sunday. My normal day would be me getting to the number house, getting situated, and then the number comes out at 1:40, checking the numbers, paying people out, and then getting done about 2:30, 3 o'clock, and then getting back to Mark Nelson Denim, and hey, what's going on? And then doing it all over again for the lotto that evening. And then wondering if somebody's following you home, and sometimes there would be somebody following you home. And it's just crazy, chaotic, and it's weird how I thought that was normal at the time. It was crazy. So at some points we were making, $90,000 a piece or so a week. And so I would imagine that's pretty good money. I lived an extravagant lifestyle, but if you're my friend, we had a good time. We were Super Bowl in Vegas, and we partied. I had plenty of opportunities to quit what I was doing, but greed just wouldn't let me. I thought it was the end all be all, like this was gonna be how I actually made all my money. I'm running this illegal gambling operation thinking everything's fine. Wow, I've made it. I'm about to shoot a reality show. I was literally on top of the world where Mark Nelson was making money. And that's when my world came crashing in. Getting pulled over by the police in my Porsche, going, it ain't over. It ain't over. I'm not going to jail. Nobody's ever been to prison in East Tennessee District for running a gambling operation. I'm going to get probation, and I'm going to figure this out and keep doing what I'm doing and be even bigger, badder, and better.
A Knoxville fashion designer will spend nearly 3 years behind bars for his part in a gambling scheme. A judge sentenced Marcus Hall in federal court this afternoon. He pleaded guilty to charges tied to running a gambling operation and laundering millions of dollars.
How the fuck did I get here? My life growing up was a little crazy. My mom and dad divorced when I was probably 3 or 4 years old. We were on food stamps most of our life, welfare. We lived in the projects. So I started my junior year of high school living with my stepmother and my stepbrother and basically raised myself. And I recall my dream being going into the hair field and owning my own barbershop. Went to barber school and then eventually ended up working at a salon for 2 or 3 years. I would have one guy come and sit in my chair, and I'm just cutting this guy's hair, and he's on his phone and go, "Hey man, I need a 8-ball," or "Hey man, I need a pound of weed," or "Hey man, I need whatever." Then 2 hours later, I get another guy come sit in my chair. "Man, you know anybody that needs some weed, or you know anybody that needs some coke, man? Man, I need to get rid of this stuff." And so eventually, I said, damn, I can make some money doing this. Just a few blocks from the salon, you could basically find any drug you want or anything you want. I mean, from weed to cocaine to, sex to rims. So I bought some weed, bought some coke, and then basically turned it over and sold it to the guys that were in my salon. That was kind of the segue for me to start my drug dealing career. If I could just make $10,000 to open my own salon, it would stop. I would quit. About 4 years into me selling drugs was my first run into with the law. I went to prison for almost a year in Pennsylvania, where they had, at the time, a federal boot camp. The first time I got in trouble, I thought, man, now I know what to do and not to do. And so when I got home, I didn't have a job to come back to. So it was just a matter of time before I started right back selling drugs. An old friend, a mentor, told me, listen, let me introduce you to something that will keep you out of prison. The number business. There was a point in time where I'd actually was kind of dabbling in both worlds, selling drugs and in the number business. I had my oldest daughter. She was maybe 6 months old. And we went to bed one night. And somebody kicked the door in. And by the time I knew who it was 4 guys with masks on, and they had guns to our heads. So I've got my 6-month-old daughter in the middle of me and her mother. And they put us on the ground and said, tell us the combination to the safe. So I rambled it off, and then I was like, whoa, I gotta do something different. So I started Mark Nelson Denim. That's how it started. Me and getting robbed and deciding that there has to be something different. To pay homage to my great-grandfather, C.L. Nelson, I put his name in the end, so that's where the Mark Nelson comes from. Fashion has been a part of my soul since I was a kid. My grandmother and my grandfather always told me, no matter who you are or what you do, you always want to leave the house looking like $1 million. My mom taught me how to sew. I would sit up at the wee hours of night and taper my bell bottoms because I couldn't afford straight legs. And when straight legs came in, if you were wearing bell bottoms or boot cuts, then you got jived on in school. And so it's always a dream. Even in high school, wanted to get into fashion some way, somehow, but didn't think it was realistic. It's one of the most competitive businesses, in the world. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I was clueless. I mean, you can go through $1 million in the blink of an eye in the fashion industry with no contacts, no history, no true experience in the industry. And so I was just pissing in the wind. It was a dream at the time. It really was. I continued to be in the number business because I was like, I still don't have enough money, but you build up this air or this confidence, or I don't know what is, stupidity, in that when you're making money that you're invincible.
In court today, Hall took responsibility for his actions and apologized to his family, children, and the Knoxville community. After serving his sentence, Hall will spend 3 years on probation. As part of his plea agreement, he must also pay back $5 million.
I'm on my way to Montgomery to self-surrender. I call my little girl and she goes, Daddy, I want to go. And then she starts crying. And we pick my oldest daughter up and we drive, and she's just doesn't understand. She's why? I have to be strong for her. And even though I am scared to death myself, the last thing that I wanted my little girl to see is that visual of her dad walking into a prison. It was embarrassing, shameful. I was mad and bitter and like, I can't believe this is happening to me. And why? Once I got there and I realized this is a camp, oh man, I can handle this. This is gonna be easy. And then, shit, there's a tennis court. I wanna be a badass tennis player when I leave here is what I told myself. And I'm thinking I'm gonna get away with this and it's gonna be a piece of cake and I'm gonna get back home and do exactly what I was doing before I got here. I'm just gonna be bigger, better, smarter. And God said, no, the hell you're not. I got a better plan for you, my man. Literally being in prison less than a week, I go to the tennis court and I'm out on the tennis court for 10 minutes and I pop my Achilles. My attitude was basically my testament that there was no God. Like, I didn't believe in God. And then I'm sitting in my bed and I'm like, okay, God. Like, I thought I was gonna get through this process. I said I didn't believe in you. And God said, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't be in prison, you'd be dead. And then he made me reflect on all the times that I escaped the robberies and the gunfire and all the drama of going through the drug dealing and the number business and the people that I hung out with that he saved me from. And then from that point on, I realized things have got to change. When I came home, I was scared to death. I was kind of a shell of myself. The guys that knew me before I went to prison were immediately on my ass about getting back into some illegal activity. And so being able to say, man, I can't do that anymore. That was shocking enough to me. Like, I'll just get a paper route. You know what I mean? I was like, I just want to just crawl under a rock and just be okay. I was not interested in running a business. The lady that worked for me for several years, Kim Milligan, kept the business open while I was gone. I told her to close it at 6 months. And she said no. I wanted to do different this time. Family is a priority now. I've got 2 beautiful daughters that I need to be there for and take care of. Immediate gratification, the shortcut, the quick money is not the way to go. Pay your dues. And it is not all about the mighty dollar. It's about the love and what you give to your community and get back from your community in a positive way. I think it's important for them both to know my good and bad stories, and that no matter what happens to them in life, if they fall down, they can get back up. And they can be anything they want to be. Don't let one mistake define them or 2 mistakes define them. Keep fighting. As human beings, we can tend to doubt and commit self-fulfilling prophecies. We all screw up. And instead of accepting and fixing that, we keep digging a deeper and a deeper ditch so far that we become and we make ourselves be these villains, these bad people. And it's because we don't forgive ourselves. You don't have to be what that one crime or that one action was. That doesn't define you. You are much bigger and much better than that. And that's what forgiveness is all about.
People know, so I love my people know, yeah, it's gonna be